welcome to Mindset Monday. We are having our first Mindset Monday in 2025. Happy New Year. Happy New Year, viewers. It is so exciting to be in 2025. You know, I had so many people posting about, oh, so glad 2024 is over. I didn't have that same feeling. I thought 2024 was great.
Um,
Did you
well,
have a rough
like,
2024?
oh, sorry, hold on a sec. Sorry. Like bad
No
feedback.
worries.
There we go. So, I'm gonna say that, well, I had like death in the family, my sister-in-law,
Mm-hmm.
I had to let some friends go.
Mm-hmm.
It was like but then I thought, well, I could be sad for 2024, or I could be happy for 2024. And I was thinking about that. What is the biggest thing that happened to me in 2024? And for me, it was when I went to court to support my friend Bruce.
Oh, that was
That
one of
was
your happiest times for
I,
2024.
I'm I I'm not gonna say happy, but I was proudest. Like I actually got
Oh,
out of that. Oh, I'm gonna cry now. Oof.
oh.
I got out of that court, and I thought my dad would be so proud of me today.
Mm.
So that feeling of like I just looked up at the sky because my dad passed, and I said my dad would be so proud of me today because a friend asked me to just stand there. Like he wasn't asking for money, he wasn't asking for anything. He was asking for a friend to go with him to
Support.
court and support. And like I can tell you the whole story, but at the end of it, I just stood there and the prosecutor asked, "Why are you here?" I said, "Well, I've been friends with Bruce now for 2 years. I've met him on the street, and I can tell you that he's been less angry than I've ever seen him. Like
Mm.
he's kinder and he's trying to change, and I'm here to support him."
Mm.
And she just looked at me and she says, it's almost impossible not to send him to jail today."
Mhm.
And it became dead silence. And I just said, "Is it impossible though?" And I smiled like
Mhm.
that smile that you like there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she just looked at me like with the serious eyes, and I just left it there. And then we went to court, and the judge said, I know you have a friend here. And I stood up and said, "Yeah, this is why I'm here." And he says, "Okay." And the prosecutor said, "I'm going to recommend probation."
Yeah.
And the reason I'm recommending probation because she's
He
got a
has
friend
support.
there. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that
It's huge.
changed my whole way of being
Oh,
about a
wonderful.
person. Yeah. So I would say, so 2024 was not all happy, and life is not always happy,
No,
right?
cripes, no.
Right. But it has, like, I was like, when I'm sad, I'm really sad. But I'm sad for the shortest moment. And when I'm happy, I'm really happy, and I try to stay there. Right.
Sounds like
So,
bipolar. No, kidding. Oh,
well, successful people have bipolar.
extreme levels of happy and sad. You know,
Yeah.
it's important, I think, that we have that awareness and are you truly going through a really difficult time? Because the thing is if we get up every morning and we say, oh, today's difficult,
It's going
well,
to be difficult.
it's probably going to be
Try
pretty
easy.
difficult. Try easy. I love that.
I
Do you
so can
remember
I tell
when
you?
Baron Baptiste said that?
Oh yeah, I do. Yeah,
It
try
changed my
easy.
whole life.
Try easy. Like we're making things so difficult. So this morning I woke up and it was 6 a.m. and I'm walking to my coffee, and that's about 6, 10 minute walk, and it's freezing cold. It's like minus
Minus
22.
21 feels like. Yeah.
21?
Yeah.
Okay, minus
I
21.
just
It's
looked
cold, right?
cold.
And I'm thinking, can I be happy? Because I ask myself that
Hmm.
question every morning. Can I be happy? It's freaking cold. I can't wait for this to end. And then I stopped myself. I said, no.
No.
I want to enjoy every single day because I feel something every single day.
Yeah.
It's a choice to be happy despite the minus 21. Can I be happy today? Yeah, because there are some people who choose not to be happy on Monday morning, and I'm blessed to have you and see you every Monday morning. And
But
it's a
everybody has that ability.
to
How can
choose
you make your Monday morning
happy.
happy?
Yeah.
So how can you get over if you are that person every Sunday night going, "Oh man, I got to go do Monday morning is
Yeah.
right?" How can you change that? Maybe you can change it up.
It's a choice.
It's a choice. Ask the
It's a
question. You know what
choice.
I mean? Like if you have a shift early Monday morning and you are just not going to be very good at that shift, go talk to somebody about that shift. Maybe
Yeah.
you do a Monday afternoon shift.
Change something. Oh my
Change
God.
something,
Change
but
something.
make sure
Yeah.
that you choose happiness first and foremost, no matter what the weather is, no
Choose
matter
happy.
how you're feeling today,
Yeah.
right? They even say if you lie to yourself, right?
Like it's not cold. They say,
Well, if you wake up on, say, on the wrong side of the bed and you lie to yourself,
okay. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That it will change
It,
your brain
well,
waves.
just smiling at yourself. If you smile, like it'll change your just smiling,
Yeah.
laughing. Like it's just like science. Like if you laugh, right? Like I did a yoga class not too long ago, and I put everybody into chair pose, and they were there for about a minute, and then I started to laugh. I started to tell stupid jokes. They were not funny, and then I would start to laugh at my own jokes,
Yeah,
and they
yeah.
all started to laugh. And we
Absolutely.
stayed there for 2.5 minutes, and I said, "No, wasn't that more fun?"
Yeah.
Right? The
It's
longest they've ever stayed.
contagious.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
you made it easy, right? When we can laugh at
make
ourselves,
it easy.
right? Look at yourself in the mirror. How is your hair this morning? How's your breath?
Make it
May
easy.
not, yeah, may
Yeah.
not be that good. All right. We are continuing on with our real life stories, if you will. In this particular case, it's a little bit different than our Veronica's. And it's just Brock Gallant, I believe is his name. And he is bringing certain scenarios to light. And I loved this one. And that's why I chose for us to listen to this one first thing this morning. And we'll let Estelle take it away while Eve and I listen in depthly. And then we'll come back and we'll tell you all about how we may handle that situation. Take it away, Estelle.
If you're in a toxic job, you know these feelings, even if you don't know their names. Here are three emotions that you feel that almost no one talks about when your job is toxic. And the last one perfectly describes how I felt when I was about to quit my job over 2 years ago. Number one, ambivalence. It's when you experience mixed feelings about a situation, person, or decision. You feel torn between choices like whether a colleague is trustworthy or if you can afford to quit. Number two, moral distress. This is common when you're forced to compromise your values or witness unethical behavior. It's a mix of guilt, shame, and helplessness due to workplace limitations or pressures. And finally, number three, disillusionment. This is when your expectations are shattered by the harsh reality of a person's character or an organization. It's a cocktail of sadness, betrayal, and loss of trust in something or someone you once believed in. Listen, experiencing these feelings doesn't mean that something is wrong with you. It's your body screaming that something is wrong with your environment. Honor those emotions, trust your gut, and prioritize your well-being. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. If
Hmm. Interesting.
I think we all need to hear that. So we
Yes.
just talked about that, right? If you are feeling really crappy every Monday morning about going to work, I want you to get really up close and personal with why are you feeling that way. So, you know, I talk a lot about toxic jobs.
Mm.
Something that we are really in tune with. Oh, sorry, it's not Brock Gallant at all. It's Philip Holmes.
That's what I
Thank you,
thought.
producer extraordinaire.
I
Um,
thought,
I'm not
where's Brock Gallant?
Brock Gallant. I know a Brock
Where does
Gallant.
that come from? I
Reach-
know. I thought that's not him at all. It's just
Sorry,
even him at
sorry.
all.
Okay,
Have you
I
lost
feel
me?
shame. I feel blame.
That's a mistake. I'm doing.
That worked. That worked.
Uh,
Shame and blame me.
um. Yeah. So these feelings, I've had these feelings in the past when I was working for someone. Even like when I'm the boss, I had this feeling. Like even in all relationships, you're gonna have these feelings, and and it's true that you can overcome your environment. In other words, you can go to a cold plunge and rise above the cold and be at peace. You can walk in minus 22 degrees and be happy. You can go in a toxic environment and rise above it and still be happy. It doesn't mean you should stay there, though. It
Mm.
doesn't mean that you shouldn't take action to change. It doesn't mean you shouldn't get into warm spaces once in a while. Because after like walking in the cold spaces or walking in this or in the environment for a long time, it could become like it will affect you, right? To a certain degree. Now, you're not your environment. You can rise, like that's the difference between a human and an animal, is a human being can rise above their environment. That's been proven. Um, like people can survive in toxic environment. It doesn't mean you should though, right? Got it?
It absolutely doesn't mean you should. Being in a toxic environment is something that I think every one of us as humans have been in.
Yeah,
Uh,
it doesn't mean a job. It could be like just a relationship too,
it
right?
absolutely. So, but to have that awareness and to know who you are, and why it's toxic is the most important, right? And you can feel it in your gut. Like he had said, make sure that you understand that your gut will tell you all kinds of things. See, all the emotions, the serotonin, the dopamine, the cortisol, it's all made in our gut.
But okay, so let's just go with this. Like
Okay.
I've got a thought, a feeling. It's just a feeling that you've experienced in the past. That's what I got. A gut feeling is just an experience you've had in the past, and it could betray you. You could be wrong.
It
It could because
absolutely could betray you.
like I
Yeah.
thought, like you think about like it's. I'm going to talk about this all freaking weekend like, coming up there, right?
Yes.
So a thought,
Hmm.
right, is something you've experienced, you've thought about in the past. A thought. A thought creates a feeling. That
Hmm.
feeling, right, says, "Oh, I've had that feeling before." Creates another thought, and you spin it around, and you spin it around, and pretty soon the thoughts and the feelings get amplified
Hmm.
into because you've had that feeling in the past. And then we say, "Oh, my gut feeling is I've experienced that in the past." Now it could be true, or it could not be true, right?
Yeah. Okay, so that's where it gets really
Murky.
yeah, that's where it gets really complicated. So if you have something that has triggered you in your
Yeah.
past,
Hmm.
and somebody has said, um,
The word whatever. There's a yeah.
okay, well that doesn't trigger me. But for me, if somebody were to correct me, right? Um, just like what happened. So I said broccolant. I don't know why I said that actually. I thought I'd seen that on the Zoom notification. So I may have a meeting with broccolant later. Anyway, so Estelle says no, it's Shelley, it's Philip Holmes, right? I have to correct myself. Immediately, I am triggered that, oh shoot, I made a mistake. I made a mistake. See, Shelley, you're not that smart enough. And I can go down a rabbit hole of you shouldn't be doing this. See, you're not, worthy to be doing this. And I could go down this
Yeah. That's what I mean. Yeah.
extreme rabbit hole kind of thing. So you have to have an awareness about yourself that you can kind of like brush that off and go, okay, that's not me. I made a mistake. And you're not going to beat yourself up all day for that, right? But if you have told yourself a deep story around the mistakes that you make, the errors that you make, you're not worthy, you're not smart enough, you shouldn't be doing a podcast, you see how the mistakes that you make, you can get yourself
Yes.
into a really bad place where I will now make an excuse for every Monday morning that Eve, I can't be there to do the mindset Monday because I'll just make up
So,
excuses.
so what happens? Look, so this is where the practice for me. This is what I do, and so what I do is I look at that and say, okay, I can't stop thinking about this thing that happened.
Yeah.
Whether somebody said something to me or so I can't. So I see that I can't stop thinking about it.
Yeah.
So you can do that by journaling. You can see, oh, every freaking day I'm thinking about this thing.
Yeah.
I'm stuck in this thing. I
Yeah.
can't stop thinking about it. That is purely a reaction or an attachment. So you're basically reinventing the past. And what you can do by basically if what you can do by writing it down or talking to a friend about it, and that friend will say, well, okay, now you're just reacting, or no, you're just attached. And then you can take a deep breath and stop that thought process and then start being kind, right? That's what I would do. So what I typically do is I say, okay, I'm just spinning off here. I'm making a big thing out of something, somebody creating this thing. Do I care that I made a mistake? No, I'm okay with that. It doesn't, I can just correct it. I'm okay. Right.
Yeah.
And so I go down that path. Now, if it continues to happen, in other words, every time I make a mistake, this person gets angrier and angrier, right? And I keep correcting it. Then that's time to say, okay, for me, that's when and maybe it's two, maybe it's three times when I've offered kindness, right? Because I'm not trying to react or attach. Then it's time for me to go. And in my experience, 2 times is where I kind of draw the line. In other words, I that's where I get to.
2 times.
It was 3 times. That turned out to be too much. So now it's twice. In other words,
Okay.
I'll continue to be kind and I'll ask myself the question, okay, are they it's this like you have to like kind of balance it out. Is it like a big issue or a small issue? Is it like really a like is it minus 10 degrees or minus 20 degrees? Right?
Y- Yeah. So, I mean, these things need to have a conversation, right? I mean,
Absolutely.
I am not, I mean, I'm honestly not going to think about Brock Gallant or Philip Holmes again. Like, I don't, you know what I
I
mean?
I think you'll get caught again.
Well, and that's what I was just going to say.
I
I
know.
think on every Mindset Monday, I speak or I don't pronounce a word or and I don't think about it. Like we wrap up Mindset Monday and it's not, oh, that was terrible or oh, that was, we don't do that.
No, but so this Brock Gallant guy, what's his name now? I can't forget.
Philip Holmes.
Phil. So Philip Holmes is saying what he's saying is like trust your gut, and I'm challenging you and everybody. Like maybe what you have to challenge is your thoughts, right? Validate that your gut feeling is correct. That's what I'm saying.
Have the conversation.
Like,
Have the
can you? How do you know that person doesn't want you on a team? How do you know that person is not your friend? How do you know that person doesn't love you?
Yeah.
You have to challenge that thought and say, okay, what can I do to see differently? And if you start challenging your thought process and your gut feelings, I'm going to go test this out and see what happens, right? Recently, like that's what I did. I challenged one of my friends. Like I'm
Mhm.
doing this event coming up in January, and I reached out and say, "Hey, do you want to do a video with me?"
Hmm.
And then she put all sorts of barriers to it. That told me exactly what I needed to know, that she wasn't my friend,
Mm-mm.
because friends don't do that. It was a transaction
In
for
your
her.
world. Yeah.
Well, like if when I asked you, right, you said, "Sure."
Yeah.
What costume do I wear? And what I have a shovel in the
What
back.
disguise do I wear and the shovels in the trunk? Yeah, no, it's absolutely true. But we're talking about toxic environments, right? We're talking about making sure that your mental health is good. So what you did is you protected your mental health. That friend said, "Well, I need to know I need to tick off all these boxes before I can actually help you." And you went,
It's okay. You
"That's
don't
that
you don't need to tick up any boxes.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
no need. Yeah, no need to
Right.
worry, right? You handled that with kindness. But what you did for yourself is you said, I'm going to remove myself from that. You decided to not have a deeper conversation and you
Yeah.
just removed yourself from the environment. That was to protect your mental health.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely, it
Absolutely.
was.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
So
for
so
sure.
so there's a way. What I'm saying is that there's a way you have a gut feeling. And I love what's his name? He's an old fella there, investment guy.
Oh, Warren Buffett.
Warren Buffett.
Me
What he
too.
said to me like really reset my whole thing. When you make an investment, you go out and you try not to prove yourself right, right? You go out and you try to prove yourself wrong.
Hmm.
So it's the same thing in a relationship. What if your gut feeling is wrong? But you have to go out and say, let's make an assumption that I'm wrong and I'm going to try something different,
Yeah.
right? And using kindness as a way to get I'm going to be kinder, because kindness to another person is aware to become it's a way to for you to become aware of your thoughts. It's a conscious choice.
Yeah.
When somebody hits you and says, "Hey, you use the wrong name, you use Brock instead of Phil,"
Yeah.
right? There's a conscious choice to say, "Oh, thank you," right? But if the person comes back and starts yelling at you,
Oh yeah,
right?
like if Estelle had to come on here and went, Shelley, you used the wrong name and had an attitude about it, right? She was just very kind in letting me know that it was the wrong person, and you can actually feel that, right? I
You
think we can
can.
all feel when somebody is patient with us and kind with us when we make a mistake, or they are very shamey and blamey. I think that we've all been in this situation. Have you ever been at a cash register or
Yeah.
in a retail setting and you're asking an associate to help you and their boss is coming in and being the controlling one and pushing them aside and trying to make themselves a little more powerful in that situation. I tell you, I shut that down every time I see any of that.
So what do you do? Like this good fat guy Phil is saying, when you have these signs, these three signs, right?
Yeah.
These
Yeah.
feelings that you have inside of you, he's saying it's time for you to basically protect your space, so move on. So
Well,
when do you know? That's the question. When do you know it's like too cold?
Well, I think absolutely get that feeling. If somebody tells me, hey, Shell, your documentation is really crappy, and we can't follow along with the documentation, and you're really causing some stress in the workplace, kind of thing. Well, because I don't feel as smart as the average bear.
Okay.
See, the thing is I will go home with my tail between my legs, right? Because knowing that he's right, my documentation is poor, right? But instead of doing that, what I'm asking people to do is to stand up and to really look at the documentation and to stand up and say, wait a minute, I kind of reviewed this and I think it's okay. Can you show me where the holes are? Right? So trustworthiness is a big part of this ambivalence, right? So if the guy who's telling me that my documentation is poor, but I don't see that my documentation is poor, now I've just hold a grudge against this dude. I'm now looking for another job, right? Waiting for the shoe to drop, kind of thing. But what if I did go take the documentation and I just said, "Hey, can we go through this?" And I'm hearing you, but I'm just not seeing it, and maybe we can come to some kind of agreement to help on this documentation. See, the thing is most of us take at face value, right? The boss says you're wrong, right? And we go with our tail between our legs and we tell everybody in the office about how shitty the boss, handled that situation and said that my documentation is wrong. Now they could be all going, "Oh, her documentation is terrible."
So how many chances would you give your boss? How many chances would you give me?
It depends on how many, 1,000. It depends.
Why? You said one, like before, like we talked about this, and you said I would give a boss one chance, and you would say I'd be looking for a job. But I tell you stuff all the time. I think I do, anyways. Maybe I don't.
Well, no, you absolutely do. But
Does it reset
I
you? Does it
trust
like?
you. I trust you, and
What's
it
the
definitely
difference?
resets
What's the
me.
difference?
Your kindness, your kindness. See, the thing is you're never going to say to me, Shelley, your documentation sucks. Without,
But I've been mad.
of course you
Like I'm
have.
a human being. I
Of
reacted
course you
like
have.
yeah.
Yeah, of course you have. But the thing is you've shown me who you are and I believe you. So the thing is you've never said your documentation is bad and never showed me what I needed to do next, right? So it's not about this blanket statement and you walking away. Like you show me. You show me what your expectations are. We've been partners like this for a really long time. Maybe not at first. I mean, I can remember way back in the day, and you came in, and my actual to budget is not the way you wanted it done. And we probably went through 5 rounds of actual to budget. And one time you'd say, I want it this way. And then I think you forgot. And 2 weeks later, you'd say, I want it another way. Right. But I never, you were never nasty in doing that. You were actually always very kind in doing that. You'd even say to me, geez, I was asking it this way, but I don't like it. I'm going to change it back to that way. You were actually very, very kind in it. You never ever pointed fingers at me and said, you should get a little better at that without helping me
Is
along the way.
is that the solution though for people to say, hey, Can you be kinder in giving your feedback? Is that
Well,
what would you?
I think there's a way, I think there's a way to do that. And I'm going to, I think there's a really good way to do that. And I think there's a way to find social connection with human beings, right? So it's not just, as soon as we just have a work environment and, this is right and this is wrong, you've already lost. I'm already looking for a job, to tell you the honest truth. I need more. I need to have an open space where I can say, I don't think you're right, Eve. I think the material I'm delivering is good. And see, what happens is you've given me that space. You've given me that space to say, I don't think you're right.
But what if you're in an environment where you can't have a level-headed, like a calm, like you're not into the state of reaction, like like your attachment, like you're obviously the emotions are really high. What if you're in that environment and you can't have that conversation that in a calm space? You're trying to give
There's
feedback to a person.
there's always place, you know what I mean? Like you could take an emergency room and in that ER, I mean, it is a life and death situation, right? A life and death situation. So in that ER, and there's nothing more toxic than a hospital environment, a medical environment, right?
But
It's
they're under stress too, right?
under stress. But there is a moment of downtime. There is a moment to say, "Wow, buddy, I understand that guy was dying,
Mm.
but you didn't have to call me an asshole." And I don't appreciate that. There has to be in every environment that you can find a place to tell your truth. That is the
That's
biggest.
not been my experience as recently. Like I think I'm pretty kind and pretty calm and a lot better than I was, and maybe I'm getting slower at my age, but like recently I was in an environment and there's no way that every time I did an act of kindness, it was like I was hit with
Has to go two ways, though. Has to go two
but like
ways.
so like and eventually I left. I left because the environment was very like it
Was
was yelling
toxic.
and it was always like and I would say, well, stop gossip, like don't gossip with people. And they would say, we're not gossiping. They would yell at me. I said, well,
Listen,
okay, well, like I can't be there.
there was ambivalence there. There were, that was you were in moral distress.
So how long do you stay in an environment? That's the question. How many chances do you
Well,
give?
it's like I had said to you, if my boss came to me and he was right, I was wrong, and there was no room for having a conversation, I would not leave because I have to pay my bills, but I would be looking for a job.
What
I
if
would become the quiet quitter and it would honestly happen the very first time, Eve. Now, I'm not going to get a job overnight, so I'm going to give you an opportunity to actually come back from that. But honestly, in this day and age, if you blow it once, you're out.
so okay, let's just but you and I asked you the question about me. I said, what if I came to you and I berated you in front of people? Would you leave right away?
No.
Why not? What's the difference?
Well, because I know you.
Ah, okay.
We have social
So you would
connection. I
probably
know who
what
you
would you
are.
do then if I came to you and say, "Hey, like stop doing that." I yelled at you in front of people and made you like feel like shit. What would you do if I did that?
I would say it in front of everybody. I would come back at you in front of everybody and say, Eve, are you in reaction? Are you attached to something? You get a little self going on,
But maybe you can't. Maybe you're in reaction and you're emotional and you run out.
and I run out.
Yeah, because I hit you so hard.
Oh, well, I can never imagine me running out. I'm going to stay and fight. I'm a fighter. So you can yell at me all you want, but I'm going to fight back. And the thing is here at Dovico, we have
That's what I do
we have
too.
we have practices, right? If I know you're in reaction, just like kind of this morning when we met, right? I was like, okay, stop. I need you to stop right now. If you're not the best version of you, your best friend's going to see it first.
So okay. So I'm just trying to conclude
So
here.
for
What
you and I, it's
But no,
not a
but
good.
this is the thing. I think what happens is when you have when you see a pattern, when you see a personality. I remember like somebody telling me the way to like hire somebody for a position or a friendship or a long-term partnership, right? Is you observe how they treat other people,
Mm.
servers and other people. That's what you do because like it's the observation of how they treat other people that's their true personality, not how
Yeah.
they treat you, right?
Yeah.
And hi Terry, hi Paul,
Patty and
Felicia,
Felicia
Patty,
and Cheryl and
Cheryl,
Mike.
Mike. I said Paul, but it's Patty. My eyes.
Patty Wortman. I think I
So,
know Patty Wortman.
so I be in the observation, and then you can see a pattern of how people treat other people. And what you're telling me, if I'm going to just summarize it, what you're telling me is like over time, if the personality is a certain way and they get out of character, something going on in their life, pressure, financial pressure, maybe there's some sickness, maybe there's something is odd with their life and they're coming, their emotional state, they're coming at you, maybe they didn't sleep night. So then you're going to give them a break. But if they have a pattern or a behavior that consistently is attacking other people and you, then it's time for you to say, maybe I'm going to look for another job.
Most definitely, but that's it, right? Unless you have social connection, unless we get a little deeper, unless we find out whether they have an issue at home, unless we find out if their father is in, under his deathbed in the hospital, like you have to find out. The conversation is so important.
Mm.
That's why this life balance, you know what I mean, where work and home, we need to know what is going on in your life to have a proper working environment.
I think this is where I get to. Hi, Carrie. This is where I get to anyway. In all relationships, be observant of how people are behaving with everyone,
Yeah,
including yourself. Because if people are talking against other people in front of you, in other words, they're gossiping, they're going to do that behind your back too.
for
If
sure.
people are berating people, right, and belittling people, other people, they're going to do that to you too. If people are stealing from people, they're going to do that to you too,
For sure.
right? So
Yeah.
be in observation, not of how you're receiving the information, but how the other person is behaving with other people. And then you'll see a pattern of behavior. Now, I've been like dedicated to change, changing
Mm-hmm.
my personality, my
Growth.
behaviors,
Yeah.
growth, right? And it's hard. Like you have to be, people don't change because you're kind. They change because there's a trauma that happens in their life, or they need to change because they want to change. That's the only two reasons they change. They don't change because you're kind. Kindness doesn't change anyone. What changes when you're kind is you. It's kindness is just a way for you to become conscious that you can rise above your emotions and say, I'm better than this. That changes you. So if you look at a person that's kind when they don't have to be, they're trying to change,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely. Listen, Maya Angelou said it best. When people show you who they are the first time, believe them. See, the thing
Hmm.
is if you watch that person steal
They're gonna steal.
and then they come and they steal from you and you are shocked,
Yeah,
yeah, well, that's on you.
that's on you.
They showed you
Who
the
they are.
first time who they are.
Okay.
And that's sometimes hard to take. It's sometimes hard because you believe in people and your kindness comes through
Yeah.
and you believe in people so much, right? That you now get into a disillusionment with yourself. Why did I
It
say?
doesn't mean people can't change, by the way. I'm not saying people, I think people, I'm hoping that I've changed.
Of
So I think you
course
can
people can
change. I think people
change.
can change, but they don't
Sure.
change because you're nice.
And they don't change overnight.
And they don't, and well, they can't. This is what neuroplasticity is telling me. They can. They can, but you have to stay until you change. You
Yeah.
can't just like
Yeah. It's not
hope
going to
to
change
change
overnight. It's just
unless
not.
no, unless you decide to change. You
Yeah.
can change overnight, but you have to do the work,
You
and
have
it's
to
freaking
do
hard work.
you have to do the work and
Yeah,
you have to have somebody in your corner that is
it says
going to
stay,
call you out to say,
stay
"Wait
there.
a
Yeah,
minute.
yeah, change.
Yeah, wait a minute.
Mm.
I think that you think you're changing, but I'm not seeing
And yeah,
necessarily the change." Oh, so wonderful.
so what we're trying to do here at Dovico is trying to build like we're not perfect here. Like we're emotionals, we have reactions, we have attachments. We're trying to, get to a state where we can be ourselves and then create a different environment so people actually can come into work and enjoy their Monday morning, but also be creative and we understand that in a toxic environment, there's no creativity. Like there's no
Listen,
creativity in any environment. It doesn't matter where you are. If you're always being yelled at, if you're always being undermined, if you're being shamed, there's no possible way you can create because you're always in your head. You're always afraid.
That's it.
And you're like, it's like the science is clear on this.
That's it.
Yeah.
We make time tracking software, but wellness in the workplace is
Is our
our
priority.
jam, right? Is our forward motion kind of thing.
Yes.
We're still going to make timesheets. We still need people to track time for their
Point.
projects,
Yeah.
right? We have to have that happen. But how can those projects come to fruition in a space of healthy wellness and a magical embrace, if you will, right? So not all projects have to be that slump, that morning ick, right? So how do we work together as a community, as a team, and make sure that we can create magic?
Yeah. So how do you feel on Monday morning? Like, put it in the comments. How do you guys feel on Monday morning? Do
Yeah.
you feel excited? Like somebody asked me yesterday, it was like a coffee shop. He says he's my age. And he looked at me, he said, when are you going to stop? I thought, stop what? Stop
Yeah.
having fun? Stop like being excited every morning?
Yeah.
I wake up and I'm excited to wake up.
Yeah.
So no, I'm not stopping. I'm doubling down.
Yeah. But the world tells us that retirement
Oh,
is the
I
golden
don't know.
arches.
I don't know what that means.
Yes. Okay. Estelle has reminded us.
Mondays are fresh. I love that. Thank you, Carrie. Yeah, Mondays are fresh and they're a restart.
Certainly fresh
I like
this
that.
morning,
Fresh.
Carrie.
Yeah,
I
in
love that.
discovery. I love that, Diane. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so good. So Estelle just reminded us we have an event, or we don't. Yves Doucet
an event.
has an event coming up January 11th.
Saturday.
Yes, Beyond Doubts. And
Beyond
Mark
Doubts.
Black, who has been a friend of the show for the longest time,
He's a
has
good guy.
bought a ticket but can't come. And he's bought that ticket so it can give it away to one of you viewers. So what we're asking you to do is DM, so direct message, PM, private message, Yves Doucet, and he will take all your names and he will pull it out of a hat this Wednesday. So you will know on Wednesday whether you get that ticket. It is going to be an amazing day. 8 to 3, we're going to be in comfortable clothes. We are going to be drinking herbal teas. We're going to get into a growth mindset. We are going to focus on ourselves.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
we're going to actually, we're going to sit and we're going to stay there until we change.
Oh, I can't wait. Those
I'm going to ask you to stay until we change. And then we'll have change inside our body, inside our minds. And like, I've been doing this for a long time.
Yeah, you have.
And I'm so excited. And I'm so excited for Saturday. So it's almost sold out, by the way, if you want to buy a ticket, if you have the money.
I think there's a couple left.
2 tickets left. I checked last night. There's a few people that are bringing their spouses. I'm quite excited about that because growth happens with a friend, right?
Yeah.
I have so many friends at Dovaco and my family.
Yeah.
And it's a lot easier when you have a friend. So, and you share an experience and people are looking for experiences now. And that's what it's going to be. It's going to be an experience.
Yeah, that is amazing. Yeah. So we are going to rock it on the 11th, next Saturday. I am so excited. I love whenever we can get something that allows us to be even a better version of ourselves. So yeah. So like I just finished saying, Eve and I are all about making sure that people's mental health, our mental health is so good that we feel that we're on fire every day and we are able to give that kindness to others every day.
And when will we stop doing that?
We'll never
stop doing
that. Retirement, actually, we talked about this a long time ago and we decided that we're just not going to do that because I don't think there's ever an end.
Great comment from Carrie there.
Oh,
right?
Amazing. Change happens and growth happens in the space of discomfort, not pain, but discomfort.
Discomfort.
And, absolutely right. So we have a pillar, and it's pillar number 3 called Stay in the Uncomfortable. So whenever you want to fill that space, Cheryl is on here, my sister actually, and we talk about that often. You don't need to fill the space.
No.
Actually, staying in the uncomfortable will actually get you into a much better space, a much better mind space, rather than just filling the space with noise. You do not have to talk through everything.
No.
You can actually be very, very quiet. And if that makes you feel uncomfortable by not saying it,
Stay.
that's easy. That's easy discomfort. Some people have to skydive and they do
Full plunges.
they do crazy
that too.
things. They do crazy things. I can be uncomfortable in a lot of different situations and get myself to stay there. So just recently I've been going to CrossFit. Very uncomfortable.
I like that.
Very uncomfortable. That's what I did over my holiday season.
Look at you.
I CrossFitted. It was
I'm doing boot camp. I love it.
yeah, look at both of us, eh? So the thing is
Muscle.
yeah, you have to get out of the environment. You have to get out of your regular environment. Walking is good, but if you walk all the time and you're not doing other things,
If you're comfortable, change it up.
change it up. Yeah. Yeah. Take a downhill sled with you when you go. Okay. So we have to finish up. I love you both. Got to run. Love you too, Carrie.
Thank you.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Carrie is an amazing speaker, and we appreciate her so much. She was actually at our last event that we had for Dovico and really brought a lot of great information to us. So we are way over our time. We will conclude here.
We're excited.
Do not forget to private message or direct message Yves Doucet, because I don't know what the kids are saying today, with your name, and you will be put in a hat, and that draw will be done on Wednesday. So you will know in plenty of time whether you're to be there or not. So excited.
Gifted by Mark Black, an amazing person, good friend.
Great, amazing friend. Okay, 2 tickets left. Make sure that you get those early because those will be gone by noon today. Eh? Yes. I'm Shelley Butler.
I'm Yves Doucet.
And this has been Mindset Monday. I love you. Get your workout in. And how are you showing up?
What a great start.